unlock what a man really desires, then stop guessing and start understanding. Because once you learn how to connect through touch, not just on the skin, but on a deeper soul level, you awaken something powerful in him, a fire he didn't even know was there. Touch isn't just about the body, it's emotional, it's mental. And when a woman over 50 learns to understand this language, she doesn't have to chase attention, she naturally draws it in. Today, I'll talk about 5 powerful places to touch a man that spark desire, emotional connection, and deep respect. This is about more than attraction, it's about influence. The back of a man's neck holds more meaning than most people realize, especially when it comes to intimacy and deep emotional bonding. It's not just a physical part of his body, it's a symbol of trust, a gateway into closeness, and a trigger for ancient instincts. When you, as a woman with life experience and strong presence, place your hand on the back of his neck with care, you're doing much more than creating physical feelings. You're sending a message, an old, powerful message. You're saying, I see you, I respect you, I'm with you. That spot where his spine meets the base of his skull is where stress often gathers. It's where tension piles up after long, hard days. It's where pressure quietly sits. From the burden of always needing to be strong, to handle everything, to carry unspoken weight. So when your fingers reach for that spot, especially during a calm, quiet moment, you're not just touching him, you're calming his nervous system. You're gently telling his subconscious, it's okay to relax now, it's okay to let go. And that's what truly turns a man on. Not just sexually, but emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Because here's something many don't talk about. As men get older, they want more than just physical touch. They want peace. They long for that rare feeling of being deeply understood without needing to explain. And when your hand finds the back of his neck, especially when he doesn't expect it, you're giving him that peace. You're giving him a place to exhale, to stop pretending, to just be. That gift, that's unforgettable. Now think about this. The neck is where instinct lives. It's a very sensitive, protected area. In the wild, animals protect their necks fiercely because it's where they're most vulnerable. So when a man lets you touch that area and doesn't flinch, it means he trusts you. His body sees you as someone safe, someone who sees beyond the tough exterior, someone who has earned his trust. That's why this small action says so much. You're not trying to take over, you're offering closeness. You're not trying to dominate, you're helping him feel steady. And it's not just about where you touch, but how you do it. The softness of your fingertips, the heat of your palm, the quiet energy you bring when you lay your hand there, it all matters. This is where your deep feminine power shows, because your touch doesn't need to be strong to have an impact. It needs to be intentional, real, and full of the calm strength that only comes from lived experience. That's what makes you magnetic, not being young, not being loud, but being present. When you stand behind him and let your fingers slowly trace the base of his hairline, you're doing more than just making his body react. You're easing his spirit. You're reminding him that even strong men need softness, that even the most put-together man wants to be held sometimes. And when he feels that from you, something in him changes. He stops acting, he stops hiding, he starts to show up fully as his real self. That kind of realness, that's where deep love lives. Now imagine doing this not during a passionate moment, but in an everyday moment. He's making coffee, he's telling you about something that happened at work. He's just standing there, unaware, and you walk up behind him, letting your hand rest at the base of his neck. That small gesture can say more than a long conversation. It tells him, I'm with you, I see what you're going through, I care, and trust me, men Don't forget that feeling. This isn't about being seductive in the usual way. It's more than that. It's about making him feel seen, valued, admired. Not for what he does, but for who he really is. That spot at the back of his neck, it's the gateway. It's where the body, mind, and spirit meet. It's where you can stir his masculine strength while calming his inner world. That's powerful. That's rare. You don't need to know a perfect method. You don't need to learn exact moves. What you need is to be there, in the moment, with steady hands and a quiet heart. When you touch him with love, with peace, with a real intention, your touch becomes something healing. It becomes something he'll remember. Because most people touch to get something. But your touch, it gives. And that's the difference. So the next time you're close to him, don't ignore that small but meaningful area. Let your hand find the back of his neck. Let it stay there, calm and still. Let it say what words can't. I'm with you. I choose you. You are safe. And watch what happens. Watch how this small moment starts to change everything. How it pulls him toward you. How it builds not just desire, but deep loyalty. Because when you touch the place where he hides his stress and you replace it with peace, that's when he opens. That's when he gives you his real self. That's when you become someone he'll never forget. Touching a man over his heart isn't just a sweet moment. It's a deep message that says more than words ever could. His chest, especially over the heart, is a symbol. That's where his emotional self lives. It's the space he protects, even without knowing it. And when you, as a woman full of experience and depth, gently place your hand there, you're not just touching skin. You're reaching into the part of him that the outside world rarely sees. You're touching the space that life has told him to hide. You see, the world teaches men to close off that area, to cover it up with toughness, logic, staying in control. But under all that, under that strong chest, is the beat of his life, his heartbeat. And when your hand connects with that beat, something in him softens. Something inside remembers what it feels like to be truly seen, not for his image, but for the truth he carries quietly. That's what your touch can do. When you lay your hand on his chest in a quiet moment, you're not just offering support. You're giving him something rare, safety. And safety is something most men don't get often. They're usually valued for what they can do, how they provide, how they protect. But your touch tells him, right now, I don't need anything from you. I'm just here. That's powerful. And it's not just about the motion of your hand. It's about the feeling behind it. When you come to a man, calm, steady, present, and place your hand over his heart, you're inviting him to drop his guard, to stop pretending, to feel peace in your presence. You're showing him that he doesn't have to perform, explain, or fight with you. That here, he's already enough. And that calmness, it lights something in him, not just desire, but something spiritual. This kind of connection doesn't care how long you've known each other. It doesn't depend on age or status. It goes deeper. It tells him, I'm not scared of your emotions. I can handle your truth. I value closeness more than perfection. And believe me, there is nothing more attractive to a man than a woman who sees both his strength and his tenderness. A woman who honors his power, but also gives him space to rest. This kind of physical connection also affects his body deeply. The heart is not just about emotion. It's a real physical rhythm. When your hand is there, he feels your warmth. He feels your energy. If you're calm, he feels calm. If you're upset, he picks that up too. That's why how you feel inside matters. When you touch him with peace, he feels it. When you bring love, he feels that love rise in him too. That's the special power of a woman's energy. It doesn't need to push. It doesn't beg. It just is. And this kind of deep touch means even more for women over 50, because by now you've grown into your quiet strength. You know you don't need to be loud to be seen. You've lived enough life to know that passion without closeness doesn't last, and closeness without touch can fade. So you blend both. You offer him your presence, your hand, your heart, all at once. And when you place your hand on his chest, over his heart, you're giving him something he won't find anywhere else. You're reminding him that desire doesn't fade with time. It grows deeper. And that love, when it's real, only gets stronger as the years go by. Now imagine doing this not just when things are intimate, but anytime. Maybe you're just sitting together and you place your hand there for a moment, no reason, no words, just presence. Or maybe he's sharing something hard and instead of talking, you simply reach out and rest your hand over his heart. That one quiet move, it can mean more than a whole conversation. It says, I'm not here to fix you. I'm here to feel with you. Touching a man's chest, especially his heart, can even become a ritual, a way to reconnect when words aren't enough. A simple sign that no matter what's going on in the outside world between the two of you, there is peace, comfort, and understanding. And don't be surprised if he begins to reach for your hand more often, placing it over his heart himself, because once a man feels this kind of touch, he won't just crave it for how it feels in the moment, but for how it makes him feel about you. You become the one who truly sees him, the one who reaches past the noise of the world and touches the truth of who he is deep inside. And that's what makes you unforgettable, not only in his body, but in the inner part of a man's wrist is one of the most delicate, often ignored, and emotionally powerful spots you can touch. Once you understand the quiet power it holds, you begin to build a type of closeness most people never even imagine. The inner wrist is like a doorway. It's soft, open, unprotected. It's where his heartbeat shows, where the blood is closest to the surface. And when you, as a calm, grounded, emotionally aware woman, touch that place, not quickly, but with calm purpose, you say something deeply personal. I feel your life. I feel your presence. I respect your energy. Unlike the usual spots we think of when it comes to attraction, the inner wrist doesn't shout for attention. It whispers. And inside that whisper is a truth that most men don't even know they need. Touching him there, especially with patience, care, and a kind of quiet strength, taps into his nervous system in a way that's both peaceful and electric. It doesn't grab. It gently invites. It doesn't push. It draws in. It creates a pause, a moment of still power where he feels you noticing who he is underneath all his roles. Think about what it means to offer your wrist to someone. It's a sign of trust, of openness, of saying, I have nothing to hide. So when you reach for his inner wrist, whether with a soft brush of your fingers, a gentle hold, or by slowly tracing the lines on his skin, you're silently saying, you can be real here. You don't need to act. I see who you really are, and I'm still here. That kind of message is rare. It breaks through his guard. It wakes something up in him, not just in his body, but in his heart. It reminds him he's more than just a man with a job and responsibilities. He's a living soul, capable of feeling, of love, of real connection. There's also a real physical reason this area matters. The wrist is filled with nerve endings. It's linked directly to the heart through the blood flow. When you touch him there, you're not just making him feel something, you're changing his whole mood. You're grounding him. You're helping him let go. You're gently leading him from the outside world of doing and fixing into the inside world of feeling and receiving. And this is where your deep feminine energy becomes magnetic. Because when a woman knows how to slow things down, not just physically, but emotionally, she becomes unforgettable in a world that's always rushing. She becomes his peace. And when you touch his wrist during small, meaningful moments, when you're talking, walking beside him, or even sitting quietly, you're showing him that true closeness isn't loud. It doesn't need to be big. It lives in the smallest, softest gestures. This kind of touch carries deep meaning. In old times, healers took the pulse from the wrist to check someone's life force. It's how we still check for life. So when your fingers rest there, it's as if you're checking the life of your connection. You're tuning in. You're saying, I'm not scared to be close. I'm not scared to feel. I trust what I feel, and I trust you enough to let you feel me too. And here's a beautiful part. It's unexpected. Most men aren't used to being touched there, especially not with such care. They expect the usual stuff. This touch goes unnoticed by most, but not by him, because it surprises him, it opens him. It grabs his attention in a soft but unforgettable way. It tells him, you're different. You don't just want his body, you want to know his truth. That's rare. That's something he remembers. And you don't need big words or bold moves. In fact, the more gentle it is, the more powerful it becomes. Maybe you're sitting next to him and just reach for his hand, letting your fingers rest in his wrist. Maybe you hold it lightly while he talks. Maybe you trace that spot slowly while looking into his eyes. These moments seem small, but they're not. They are everything. They build emotional safety. They build closeness. They build longing. This type of touch is especially powerful for women over 50. You bring a kind of calm and confidence that younger women are still learning. You understand that real closeness isn't about rushing. It's about enjoying every part of the moment. When you touch his wrist with that quiet strength, you wake something in him that's deeper than lust. It's something like respect, admiration, even awe. He doesn't just want you, he's drawn to you. He respects you. He's taken in by how you can slow time with one small touch. And maybe the best part, it's not about having some perfect move. It's about being honest, being there, being real. Because when you touch his wrist from a place of calm presence, you're not trying to get anything. You're offering something. And men can feel the difference. So next time you're with a man, whether it's your first date, a long-time love, or someone you're getting to know, don't ignore the power of reaching for his wrist. Do it slowly. Do it gently. Let your touch speak when words don't. Let your energy carry the message. Because in that quiet moment, you're not just touching his skin. You're reaching into his heart. And that's what makes you unforgettable. The lower part of a man's back might seem like just another area. Nothing special, often unnoticed. But really, it's one of the most quietly powerful places you can touch. Especially when you do it with intention, grace, and feminine presence. That area just above the tailbone, below the middle of his back, is very sensitive. Not just to your touch, but to your energy. When you touch him there, you're sending a message straight to his deeper self. You're offering not just touch, but direction. Not just closeness, but balance. This spot is where control and release meet. Where his masculine drive to lead blends with his human need to feel safe. When your hand lands there, steady but gentle, something shifts. You steady him, you guide him, you help him breathe. It's not about taking charge. It's deeper than that. It's about leading with trust. It's about quiet power. It's about the feminine way of supporting without shouting. Think about everyday moments. You're walking beside him, and you place your hand on his back to help guide him through a doorway or past a group of people. It's small, but he feels it. Why? Because it tells him you're present. You're right there. You're in step with him. Not pulling him, not pushing, just moving together. That kind of touch builds a bond faster than big gestures ever could. For a man, this spot holds pressure. His lower back holds up his whole frame. It carries the stress of his daily life. So when you place your hand there, not rushed, but with care, you're saying, let me share this weight. And that's a feminine gift, offering support without overpowering, giving strength without taking away his. Men feel this. They don't always say it, but they feel it, and they're drawn to it, especially when it comes from a woman who knows who she is.